guy is a serious, lyrical powerhouse. If you like your rap to be just super slow and cerebral and filled with punchline boom bap beats, and then you're gonna find a ton to unpack here, but in my opinion, Evidence suffers from something that I think a load of like underground MCs suffer from. Like a load of the underground rappers who are all about like real rap. I think one big problem that kind of plagues all of them is just a complete lack of creativity and a complete refusal to go outside of the boundaries of just traditional rap. On this new Evidence album, you can expect a whole bunch of beats that just stray, for me personally, just way too close to the beaten path of just real rap. It's just a little bit boring. It's just too normal. It's just too normal. I like a one element of just personality or weird or creativity. This is just such a normal rap out. It was just so dull. Like, the tone of his voice gets just so fucking monotonous and just hard to just bear by the end. There were some memorable lines and memorable bars all over this thing. Like that part on 10,000 Hours where he said like pantyhose from my mother's clothes, and I lay a bar, like referring to sort of like his come up, about how he used like his mother's clothes sort of like as a pop filter, just sort of displaying like where he used to be and where he is now. I thought that was a pretty cool line. That part on Jim Dean where he says big dreams even if they doubt him. I never wasn't sure if I wasn't sure about them, saying how like everyone's always like doubting, oh, your dreams are too big, always doubting him, but he never wasn't sure if he wasn't sure. That he does like a quadruple negative, and it basically is just a more complex way of saying that he was always sure that he wanted to be a rapper. That was a cool Good Kid Mad City reference on Bad Publicity where he says good city mad kid, sort of spinning it to match his perspective. The line on Throw It All Away where he goes, it's ignorance that causes all the bliss in my surroundings, because dealing with reality is like drawing all your boundaries. I thought that was fucking awesome. That line is so dope. He's saying like basically if you like really pay attention to everything that's happening, you're gonna end up drawing your own limitations, and it's best to live life where you're under the impression where there are no limitations and you're free. Like ignorance is bliss, like you can just do whatever. Like that's I like that line. I could go on for ages just quoting a whole bunch of lyrical concepts he weaves in and really cool punchlines, and he does it really elegantly, really smoothly. But at the end of the day, the vocal performances, the flows, the hooks, the beats, the features, so little of it was grabbing me. It just seems pointless. It just seems futile to just start listing off a whole bunch of bars. Like there were some great lines, like that. This dude's a lyrical beast, but yeah, it's just not a very musically engaging listen for me. Evidence raps with this really kind of cold-blooded, slow-paced, patient sort of demeanor. He sounds really just kind of just cold and just aggressive a lot of the time, but slow and patient. And he's not like trying to grab, not like a Denzel Curry where he's like screaming away or anything like that. Very kind of quiet, but he still comes off really like sinister, which I like. I think it works on some tracks, but on certain songs like Bad Publicity as well as Raindrops, I feel like it just comes off really sluggish and it's kind of hard to trudge through. Instrumentally, there are some highlights too, like on the song Love Is a Funny Thing, which features Styles P and Rhapsody, and the beat is produced by Crisis. I thought he came through with some really lovely, this really awesome piano passage. It sounds really just hopeful and inspiring. It's a nice change of pace and a very dismal tone of the rest of the album, and Rhapsody's verse on this track is fucking awesome. The way her sort of very introspective and just kind of witty rapping style contrasts with Evidence's more like cold and wordy style, I thought it was a pretty nice, refreshing moment on the album. The Factory, the opening track. This track sets things off really aggressively. It's a pretty short track, like 2 minutes 50, I think. The very shrill tone of the loop sample here really just gives it that sort of aggressive, evil sound. He mentions like dusting off tumbleweeds, like he's like, just getting, dusting himself off, like he's getting ready again, he's coming back. Throw It All Away, in my opinion, is the best song on the album. I love the really jazzy beat on this track. It sounds fucking awesome. It's a real head bobber of a beat, and I love how the keys on this song just glide into these like really opulent strings at one point. It sounds heavenly. And I also appreciated the Run the Jewels reference. That was a nice little nod. To make a long story longer, another huge highlight for me, it features John Wayne. Outro is a little bit bloated on this track, but I did think this was one of the biggest highlights. I thought Evidence flow on this track was bouncier than it is for the rest of the album. The rhyme scheme on this track was really cool. There was one bit revolving around Robin Hood. I'll put it on the screen now. I thought the way he tackled that was sick. John Wayne had a real commanding tone to him here that I really liked. But he simultaneously, he sounded really commanding, but he also sounded like he was barely even trying. And I don't mean that like he was sounding lazy. I mean like he sounded so effortless, like he was just rapping, like he wasn't even trying, but it still came out fucking sick. John Wayne killed his verse, but overall there were undeniably some highlights. There was some, like I just said, some good beats, some good lines, some decent features. Overall, there are definitely strong moments, but it's like 16 tracks, damn near an hour of listening to the same like just slow like boom bap style production with this sluggish kind of flow, and his delivery is very just like he's just kind of rapping with this like cold-blooded, just kind of patient delivery. It just gets a little bit hard to sit through after a while. Overall, for me, I'd say it's a 6. It's okay, there are some highlights, but just as an album experience overall, this thing just left a lot to be desired for me. Like, his style throughout the album, it barely really changes. His lyrics, whilst they are impressive, they really lack much of an overall focus, like a grand impact. It's just sort of like a collection of some really nice introspective punchlines. Just musically, I just think Evidence just plays it way too safe on this album for me. And there are loads of like voicemail skits too. Like at the end or at the beginning of like damn near every track, there's like a fucking voicemail skit, and it just kind of pads out the runtime. Overall, yeah, I wasn't really feeling it like that, but it did have some solid bars, I guess. If you're a hip hop head, if you really like traditional like real rap, you're gonna find a lot to like here. But for me personally, I like a little bit more flavor and personality. So yeah, overall, it's a 6 for me. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Evidence's Whether or Not. Bye.